This is Church of Caboose, and we have less than a week till the season of Opulence starts. And so there are some tips and tricks and things to maybe think about that I'm not sure I would have thought about that will make your leveling up a little faster and easier. First things first, you're trying to hit that 720 mark super fast. Don't play Destiny or at least anything that has a daily reward 4 days before it comes out. So since Opulence comes out on a Tuesday, I would recommend not playing anything past Wednesday night that has a daily reward to it, just to be safe about if what actually counts as the 4 days or not. Because you might be wondering, well, that seems kind of weird. Well, you want to be able to get all rewards possible to level up. So if you're already at 700, you really have nothing to gain at this point anyways from doing things that are rewards. And daily rewards, while they're usually rather small, can make a big difference when you're trying to get that first level up to 720. Especially if you're trying to do the raid the first day, which I would highly recommend trying to do, since there seems to be a different thing called contest that is coming with the raid, which I have a theory might be some kind of a triumph or something like that, but we'll find out. Anyways, other stuff you should do are to get quests done up to the last step. So if you have an invitation of the 9, I would suggest doing everything other than the actual cutscene thing where you have to go to the Reckoner planet and you just listen to what the story is. I would do everything except for that. Hang on to that till Tuesday. Especially for pinnacle weapons, especially if you haven't already gotten one done. So if you've not already earned a pinnacle weapon, whether it be Luna's, Recluse, Not Forgotten, the Oxygen, Loaded Question, Breakneck, any of those, I would just do everything except turn it in if possible this week until Tuesday. So that way it has a better chance of dropping at over the 700. That's the thing that I saw a bunch of people on the internet talking about doing, was to save those pinnacle weapon quests. And here's what I'll show for other types of quests you should have saved up. The general gist is you want to have 20 total, and then we're going to look at which ones of those 20 you should have done. So you want to get 3 clan rewards done, so you get that 6,000 XP real quick. I'll be doing one of these other 2 at some point later today with my wife, I believe, or at least this week. And then another bounty I suggest you do, it's a weekly, is to do 1 T3, T4 clear of the Blinding Well. And then that way, when you get to next week, you can do your last clear, so that one's done. And then you get the powerful reward from that lickety split. That's above 700. And then you can go and do the Ascendant Challenge, which will give you the powerful reward from that activity, as well as the weekly deal for doing both the Ascendant Realm, the Ascendant Challenge, and the Blinding Well for that week, because that is usually what you have to do for the Dreaming City to get that powerful reward. The Dreaming City tends to yield very powerful rewards, depending upon your preference. I've kind of heard from a lot of people it's better to do the most powerful rewards first, so that way you get the leap, and then your other ones kind of tack onto it a little bit, but I'm not really sure one way is super better than the other. So that part's up to however you want to do it, if you're trying really hard to get to 720 or higher as fast as possible. Some other quests I would suggest you do, have a couple of Black Armory logs stored up, so that way you can get 2 weapons that are powerful rewards. And to save your resources, if you've got a Black Armory gun that you really like, I would do that weapon frame. So you only can do 2 for a powerful reward, and as long as it stays how it has been the last couple of weeks, where every single weapon frame is available at the same time, I plan on doing the Blast Furnace Pulse Rifle, because I love the one that I currently have. It has Outlaw and Rampage and Range Masterwork, Accurized rounds, that kind of thing. I love it. So I'll probably do the Pulse Rifle once, that way I can just infuse my current Blast Furnace into that Blast Furnace for Glimmer instead of having to use resources. I also intend to do the hammerhead machine gun because I have a hammerhead with surrounded spec and stuff like that I really like. And so those are some of the things you can do to try and get a couple other rewards pretty quick that don't cost you resources. Because remember, resources are limited unless you happen to be lucky and the spider is selling exactly what you need. And if you're not someone who maybe just plays a ton, so you just have tons of legendary shards and whatever, you might not be able to afford to use the in-game currency to buy all these ridiculous amounts of resources. Like I bought about 1,000 of everything from my resources between my characters. So that's how I would handle the Black Armory. You can also, if you would like to see for easy bounties, maybe save up some of the 81 bounties, but the bigger key is to have 2 logs, or at least the ability to have 2 logs really quick. So maybe you have 1 log and then you have one of the weeklies done, you still don't turn it in, so that way you can get to 2 logs. Which if I can double check here, it might be, yeah, that's something I did. So I got a ballistic log from here, so I need to try and get the other one, which will be turning in the 7 daily bounties, and then I'll get the 2 logs right off the bat. The other thing I would try and do is Petra's bounties. Have 7 of the dailies done, because one of the weekly powerful rewards for Petra is to complete 8 daily bounties. And this will take a couple of days, because obviously not all 8 are available at the same time. But what I did was I got 7 of these, and the one I left behind is the Lost Sector, because if depending upon your power level, and this is assuming you're 700, you should be able to pretty easily go into a Lost Sector even by yourself and just run through the whole thing, just kill it, go straight to the boss, kill it, grab the key, and you're out in like a minute. And then boom, you have that 1 weekly reward done. All you have to do is turn in those 8 bounties. And so as you can see, as I kind of scroll through them, I did basically everything except for that Lost Sector bounty. And if you're not sure where all the Lost Sectors are at, because they don't necessarily tell you, I don't have any guides up right now on anything about which Lost Sector is which, but there's definitely plenty of them on the internet that you can just put in the name of the Lost Sector that is in the bounty, and then the odds are someone will have a guide that'll pop up really quick. They'll take you to it, and then you're good from there. The other types of stuff I would save up. Exotic weapon quest. Now, this is not guaranteed. This is just an idea I had, and it was kind of confirmed on the internet, is that some of these exotic quests, if you finish them once Opulence comes out, might drop above 700. So I took some time to get my Ace of Spades up to the very last mission, Ace in the Hole. I've done that mission a bunch of times, and so that should be a pretty fast clear. And worst case scenario, I get an Ace of Spades and it drops at whatever the power level is, and it's just done, and I free up a slot with the hot banding in my pursuits section. Best case scenario, I get an exotic that drops above 700 and gives me a nifty little boost. You could try doing the same thing with Outbreak or any of them. I imagine Outbreak would be the most likely to have the boost. There is some discussion as to whether or not the exotics will actually drop higher, because a lot of people think it's kind of tied to whatever expansion they came out with. I'm more partial to that theory, but I figured, what the hell? Doing this one mission won't take very long, and I can test it out and see if that is in fact a thing. Then other bounties I would stay up is usually Infamy rank or the Crucible rank. Something tends to usually be boosted. Given that this week the Infamy rank has the boost, I may have taken a wrong gamble at hoping the Infamy rank was going to have the bonus XP next week. So my thought was I turn in a bunch of Gambit XP or Gambit bounties, and then I rank up just by turning those in, and then I get a couple of powerful rewards just because I turned those in. And so then I rank up that way, and I get more powerful rewards. And the same thing is be applicable with the Crucible, the tokens, the Crucible level. And it looks like I might have taken the wrong gamble, hoping that the Infamy rank will be set up, so I might turn in a handful of these and do the Crucible ones. We'll see. I'm only going to delete a couple at a time as I finish them, just because I don't really plan to do anything that has daily rewards whatsoever from probably Thursday night for sure until Opulence comes out. So I might do some of that. But that's something else I would suggest doing, is to try and just save up a bunch of tokens. I have, now maybe not everyone has gotten this, but I have actually gotten slight level ups if I go and turn in all of my Crucible and Vanguard tokens. Right off the bat, at the very beginning, I have found that if you do that first, usually the drop is a little bit higher than your current power level, but you'll probably get the most leveling up from doing that possible within the first couple of hours of play, and after that it's not really worth trying it, other than just to get rolls of guns that come out that might end up being really good, because every time there's a season change, there's usually a sandbox change. So that's something else I guess to consider, would be to hang on to these tokens, maybe turn them in right when you first log in, just to see if you can level up a little bit, or at the very least just get some fun rolls on guns maybe you haven't gotten yet. Like I believe Service Revolver is being thrown to the mix if you haven't done those Vanguard strikes yet, but don't quote me on that. I just kind of heard that from some people in my clan. So here you go, to see all those resources I got saved up. And then do something else, just buy if you can tons of these resources from the Spider. Just check on him every day when you hop on to play. See what he's selling and try to just get as many as you can. Fool around a lot in the Dreaming City. As you can kind of see from here, my Warlock has mostly, other than the Tingle Shore resource, has got a couple hundred, mostly 500 or more of every resource on him. And every character of mine is the same way. Since they're account shared, and I've even got some of them stashed up in my Postmaster, I believe. So I appreciate you guys so much for watching. I really hope this helps. I want everyone to have a fun time trying to level up. The last thing, I guess, that is more time consuming would be, make sure you do Shatter Throne. Shatter Throne is one of those things that tends to have quite the power up drops when you are going through it. And if you're at 700 right now, it shouldn't be too hard to get through. If you're not sure how to do it, I can't promise, but I do intend with my group to kind of record my Shadow Throne run on Tuesday, when I'm pretty sure Shadow Throne is out next week. I think it's Curse Week next week. And so I do intend to record it and kind of try to have some of a guide in case there's anyone that's not sure how to do it. Otherwise, there's plenty of videos on the internet. It's not super hard, guys, to do the Shadow Throne. The first time through it, there's a little puzzle part to open up where you can go below into the actual dungeon. That does give you awards. It's kind of a puzzle thing. That probably takes the longest because it's a lot of running around and finding the different keys and everything. But it's not super tough. And I'm sure you guys could probably reasonably do it within probably an hour, if I had to guess, would be on the longer side of things if you were at 700. So you can do Shatter Throne. I would probably just do that while you're doing your Blinding Well stuff. Whenever you're doing your other Dreaming City things, just go ahead and knock out your Shatter Throne run. And you can get Wish Under with it as well, and that's another exotic drop you can get. That'd be a powerful reward if you haven't gotten Wish Under already. So that's a thing to consider too. So there's a lot of stuff you can do, guys. The Dreaming City is usually going to be the best bet for getting the fastest light level with a quick, as soon as possible, leveling up really fast. Unfortunately, the older raids like Leviathan, the Raid Layers, Scourge of the Past, and Last Wish will not be available to play until I believe it's until the world's first team finishes the raid. So that used to be a pretty standard trick, was you get your world's first buddies together and you clear all the raids really fast, and then you do all the other stuff and you get all of those raids done that week, and so then you get close to the max light level because you have everything set up, and that would work. But not this time, guys. So if that is what you prefer to do, maybe you're not someone who's trying to get a completion in the first 24 hours like my clan and I are trying to do. But so maybe the raid thing would work for you. But these tips are all really good for leveling up, especially if you're more of a solo player. The Shatter Throne will be a little tougher if you're going to solo through it. I've tried doing it. I plan to still do it, and it was pretty tough. It's not easy to solo the Shatter Throne, but you guys can totally do it if you want to put the time and effort into it. So hopefully this was a good video guide about what things to expect and how to use your time the best with the week leading before Opulence. I'm also going to be taking advantage because I tend to disappear from my wife when these expansions come out. And so, especially with my team and I are going for the first 24 hours, I will definitely take advantage of spending some time hanging out with her since I can't do those dailies anyways. We're actually playing together right now. There's her tag right there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you liked the video, found it at all useful, please give it a like and or a subscription. I really hope that this is useful information to you guys. If there's other videos you would like to see with different content, feel free to comment in the comment sections below. I have a Twitter, which is at Church Caboose of. Oh, wait, hold on. It's at Caboose, yeah. At Caboose Church of, for some reason. Twitter is weird. And then I've got a stream as well. So if you're more than welcome to look up my gamer tag on Twitch and just chime in stuff you would like to see while I'm doing that, if that is your thing. You guys are all fantastic. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.